good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. So it is like super, let me turn some light on. There we go. It's completely raining here where I'm at. I know there's like major weather in other parts of the country, but I'm in California, so rain is a big deal. So we have rain, we have Valentine's Day, we have a rainy Valentine's Day. I hope that you spend the day with people that you love. So we are going to be in Exodus 37 and 38. And let's see. Oh, our candidate was placed with a family in Oregon. And they're going to get, I have to meet the transport tomorrow morning. And he's going to transport him up to Oregon. It's pretty amazing. So pretty excited for that to be able to go on. Good morning, Stephanie Montoya. Glad to see you. Stephanie Montoya has one of our candidates. Well, he's not a candidate anymore. He's teamed up with her husband, Mike. And so Mike and Charlie are a team through Basics. So we're glad to see them here with us. Thanks so much for joining in. So let's go ahead and open in prayer. Lord, I just thank you for this morning. I thank you for your word. I thank you that you love us. I thank you that you're here for us. I thank you that your mercy is new every morning. Lord, I ask that you would speak to our hearts. Give us direction. Give us guidance. Give us wisdom. Help us to be who you've called us to be. Help us to magnify you. Help us to help mature the people around us by sharing your word and sharing your love. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So again, we're in Exodus 37, and we're talking about making the ark. It might seem like it's a lot of tedious information, but everything in the making of the tabernacle and the making of the ark, even the tent of meeting, everything is a picture that points to Jesus Christ. So let's try to find those pictures here in what we're reading today. So Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood, 2 cubits, and the footnote gives us that a cubit was about 18 inches. So 2 cubits would be about a yard, because 18 and 18 is 36. So 2 cubits and a half, and was its length, a cubit and a half its breadth, a cubit and a half its height, and he overlaid it with pure gold inside and outside, and made a molding of gold around it. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold for its 4 feet, 2 rings on its one side and 2 rings on the other side. And he made poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold, and put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark to carry the ark. That is super significant when you get into 1st and 2nd Samuel, and we see that David was wanting to move the ark, and instead of doing this, where you carried the ark on poles, they just threw it on the back of an ox cart, and they just started moving the ark towards Jerusalem. And when that ox cart hit a rut, those bad roads, Uzzah decided he would help it and stuck out his hand so the ark wouldn't fall, and God struck him dead. Now, everybody first off would think that's wrong. Why would God do that? He was just trying to help. God doesn't need your help. And if you would have done it the way God had told you to do it, with the poles and all that, Uzzah wouldn't get struck dead. So it shows how it's important to do the things of God, the things of God's way, right? So carry the ark. And he made, verse 6, a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half was its length, and a cubit and a half its breadth. And he made 2 cherubim of gold. He made them of hammered work on 2 ends of the mercy seat, 1 cherub on one end and 1 cherub on the other end. Of one piece with the mercy seat, he made the cherubim on its 2 ends. The cherubim spread out their wings above, overshadowing the mercy seat with their wings, with their faces one to another toward the mercy seat, were the faces of the cherubim. That's significant because that's where the presence of God would come down and speak to Moses or the priests or whoever. That's where the presence of God came to. So that's a significant place. So now we have the making of the table. I mean, it's that much detail. God is into the detail, right? He also made the table of acacia wood. 2 cubits was its length, a cubit its breadth, and a cubit and a half its height. He overlaid it with pure gold, made a molding of gold around it. He made a rim around it in a handbreadth wide. A handbreadth is about 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters. So There you go. And made a molding of gold around the rim. He cast for it 4 rings of gold and fastened the rings to the 4 corners at its 4 legs. Close to the frame were the rings as holders for the poles to carry the table. He made the poles of acacia wood to carry the table, overlaid them with gold. He made the vessels of pure gold that were to be on the table, its plates, its dishes for incense, its bowls, its flagons with which to pour drink offerings. Okay, so like a carafe or a pitcher, right? So one might say, why do I need to know this? Well, it's showing the detail that God puts into everything. And the rings on the table were so that they could carry it, because they're a mobile people. They are constantly on the move. So it wasn't something that they had to like pack up or it would be awkward. No, they had it made so that they could carry it all over the place for those 40 years that they were in the desert. Now they're making the lampstand. He also made the lampstand of pure gold. He made the lampstand of hammered work. Its base, its stem, its cups, its calyxes, and its flowers were of one piece with it, and there were 6 branches going out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side of it, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side of it. And you could Google that. It's the lampstand in the tabernacle, and you can see a picture of what that looks like. 3 cups made like almond blossoms, with each calyx and flower on one branch, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms with each calyx and flower on the other branch. So for 6 branches going out of the lampstand. And on the lampstand itself were 4 cups made like almond flowers, and a calyx of one piece with it under each pair of the 6 branches going out of it. Their calyxes and their branches were of one piece with it. The whole of it was a single piece of hammered work of pure gold. He made it 7 lamps and its tongs and its trays of pure gold. 7 is the number of completion. 6 days God worked, and then on the 7th he rested, right? One whole piece is this work, right? We are one whole body of Christ, correct? Made up of different components, but still one body. One whole piece was this lampstand. We are the light of the world. Jesus Christ came that we may be the light of the world to those around us, right? He made it in all its utensils out of a talent of pure gold. Now, a talent in the footnotes is about 75 pounds. 75 pounds of pure gold. That's a lot of gold. Don't think I remember that, but there you go. 75 pounds of pure gold made into this lampstand. So now they're making the altar of incense. The altar of incense is super important. You'll see it in the book of Revelations, that the prayers of the saints would go and they would burn in the altar of incense, and the fragrant aroma of the prayers of the saints would reach God. And when he smells the incense, he understands their prayers, and that's when he hears their cries. It's a beautiful picture. So he made the altar of incense of acacia wood. Its length was a cubit, its breadth a cubit. It was square, and 2 cubits was its height. Its horns were of one piece with it. He overlaid it with pure gold, its top and around its sides and its horns. And he made a molding of gold around it, and made 2 rings of gold on it under its molding, on 2 opposite sides of it, as holders for the poles with which to carry it. Everything is mobile. And he made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with pure gold. He made the holy anointing oil also, and the pure fragrant incense blended as by the perfumer. So there you go. We have the altar of incense ready to be able to offer prayers to God. He made the altar, okay, now making the altar of burnt offering. Now the altar of burnt offering is where they would offer their sacrifices of animals to God, because without the shedding of blood, there's no forgiveness of sin. So those sacrifices had to be made for the forgiveness of the sins of the people, and even of the priests, because they were sinners, they were men. And so, they had to offer these sacrifices on a continual basis because Jesus Christ had not came yet. So he made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood, 5 cubits. The footnote says a cubit again was 18 inches, which is like half a yard. So 5 cubits was its length and 5 cubits its breadth. It was square, and 3 cubits was its height. He made horns for it on its four corners. Its horns were of one piece, and he overlaid it with bronze. And he made all the utensils of the altar, the pots, the shovels, the basins, the forks, the fire pans. He made all its utensils of bronze, and he made for the altar a grating, a network of bronze under its ledge, extending halfway down. He cast 4 rings on the 4 corners of the bronze grating as holders for the poles, and overlaid them with bronze. And he put the poles through the rings on the sides of the altar to carry it with them. He made it hollow with boards. And so that was where they would burn their sacrifices. So now they're making the bronze basin. He made the basin of bronze and its stand of bronze from the mirrors of the ministering women who ministered in the entrance of the tent of meeting. I find that funny that the ministering women had mirrors. Isn't that awesome? Of course we had mirrors. I would need a mirror. But there they were with this basin. The basin would be used for them to wash, so they could go in and be clean. They couldn't just go in with the filth of the world as they walked into the tent of meeting. Okay, so now they have the court, making the court. And he made the court for the south side. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen. 100 cubits, their 20 pillars and their 20 bases were of bronze, but the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side there were hangings of 100 cubits, 20 pillars, 20 bases, bronze, but the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their 10 pillars, 10 bases, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the front to the east, 50 cubits, the hangings for one side of the gate were 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and 3 bases, and so for the other side. On both sides of the gate of the court were hangings of 15 cubits with their 3 pillars and their 3 bases. All the hangings around the court were of fine twined linen. The court was enclosed. The court was beautiful, fine twined linen in the middle of the desert. And that's what we see today in that I missed it. Fine twined linen. We see how heaven is beautiful and enclosed for us to be able to enter into, and that for those that have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And this courtyard also is a beautiful place in the middle of a desert. So there we have that fine twined linen. It was 20 cubits long, 5 cubits high, its breadth corresponding to the hangings of the court. Verse 19, their pillars were 4 in number, 4 bases were of bronze, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals and their fillets of silver. And all the pegs for the tabernacle and for the court all around were made of bronze. So now we have the materials for the tabernacle. So these are the records of the tabernacle of the testimony, as they were recorded by the commandment of Moses. The responsibility of the Levites under the direction of Ithamar, the son of Aaron, the priest. So the Levites, Jacob had 12 sons. One of his sons was Levi. Levi's descendants became the priests that would take care of the temple. And they would be the ones that would do all the stuff in regards to the temple, taking it down, putting it up, maintaining it, all that stuff. Bezalel, the son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all the Lord commanded Moses. Judah, of the tribe of Judah, is David. Judah, again, was one of Jacob's sons, so he's one of the tribes of Israel. And from the tribe of Judah, we have King David, and from the tribe of Judah, we have Jesus Christ. And with him was Aholahab, the son of Ashamash, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and designer, an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. So all the gold that was used for the work and all the construction of the sanctuary, the gold from the offering was 29 talents and 730 shekels. A talent again was about 75 pounds, and a shekel was about 2/5 of an ounce or 11 grams. A lot, right? And so the silver from those of the congregation who were recorded was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, and by the shekel of the sanctuary. A becca, not a becca as one word. A becca was about 1/5 of an ounce or 5.5 grams. So a becca a head, that is half a shekel, by the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone who listed Good morning, Kevin. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Thanks for listening in. For everyone who was listed in the records from 20 years old and upward, for 603,550 men. A lot of people were there to take care in the desert, the people of Israel. That's how many, just the men. And so we see the amount of precious things that went into the building of the tabernacle. The 100 talents of silver were for casting the bases of the sanctuary and the bases of the veil. 100 bases for the 100 talents. A talent a base. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars and overlaid their capitals and made fillets for them. The bronze that was offered was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. With it he made the basis for the entrance of the tent of meeting, the bronze altar, the bronze grating for it, and all the utensils of the altar, the bases around the court, the bases of the gate of the court, all the pegs of the tabernacle, and all the pegs around the court. Nothing is left out. Everything is important. Everything is listed here so that they could replicate it when David prepared to get all the things together for Solomon to build the temple. And this temple again will be replicated in end times when the Antichrist puts together the temple, and the people of Israel will at that point think he's the Messiah until he decides to sit on that and call himself God. And then they will realize you are not the Messiah. So we see that all of these details are important to God because we are important to God. God is in the details. Nothing is overlooked and nothing is by happenstance. God sees everything as important. So that is our Old Testament reading for today. And now we're in our New Testament reading. What a great reading for today. It is Valentine's Day and we are on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So now after the Sabbath in Matthew 28, now after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day of the week, the first day of the week for those in the Jewish culture was Sunday morning. That is the first day of the week. Westerners, it's Monday, right? So Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb, and behold, there was a great earthquake, okay? For an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone. You know, there's a lot of earthquakes going on right now, right? There was an earthquake when Jesus died, and now Jesus is rising again, and there's an earthquake, okay? And not just an earthquake, but an angel that rolls back the stone, because how were the women going to roll back the stone? They didn't know, but they had to be there, right? For an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. So he didn't even just leave. He's like just hanging out, right? His appearance was like lightning, his clothing white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards trembled and became like dead men. Comatose, like fainted, like just out, okay? These are guards. These are Roman guards that have seen and done torturous, horrible things. They saw this angel and they fainted. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen as he said. Come see the place where he lay." The footnote says, some manuscripts say the Lord, so come see where the Lord laid. Then go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead, and behold, he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him. See, I have told you. So the angel offers these two women the opportunity to see the place where Jesus was no longer at, and to be the first to share the gospel with others. The first disciples to share the gospel with other people were women, right? That's how important women were to God. And that's why we have the place in society we have today, because God changed the mindset of people to value women as opposed to ignoring and disregarding their value. So they departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to tell his disciples. And behold, Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came up and took hold of his feet and worshipped him. And then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." What an amazing testimony that they had. What an amazing gift to be given, to be able to tell others that Jesus Christ was alive. So now we have the report of the guard. While they were going, behold, some of the guard went into the city and told the chief priests all that had taken place. And when they had assembled with the elders and taken counsel, they gave a sufficient sum of money to the soldiers and said, "Tell people his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were sleeping," which is punishable by death because they're Roman guards. And for them to have let a prisoner, a dead body, what they were guarding, get away, and for them to have been overcome and outwitted by disciples who were fishermen and tax collectors was ridiculous. It's a ridiculous statement. But it was a statement that had to be made because the Pharisees were not going to let these soldiers say what had really happened. "And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." So they took the money and did as they were directed, and this story has been spread among the Jews to this day. Amazing, right? Amazing. And now we see the Great Commission. So now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. 11. Why? Because Judas had thrown back the pieces of silver after Jesus was arrested, not wanting to keep what he felt he had done wrong by taking, and hung himself. So now there's only 11 disciples. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Even though they see it with their own eyes, their hearts would not believe. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them." And the footnote says, "into." So baptizing them into or in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. What a Valentine, right? What a love of God to send his son to die on the cross, to rise again, to offer us hope of heaven and give us a direction, give us a purpose. People are constantly wondering, what is my purpose, God? What am I here for? You're here to make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe what God has shown us. And God is with you to do this. That is your purpose. That is your calling. We all have the same purpose and calling. Does that mean it's the same for every person? No, because we are all different people in different walks of life. That's the beauty of it. We have been given the same purpose and direction, but it's all over the world. People are doing it in a different way. People are sharing God and bringing people into the kingdom wherever they are. So that's an amazing thing, right? So now we have Psalms 34, our Psalms reading, Psalms 34, 11 through 22. "Come, O children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. What man is there who desires life and loves many days that he may see good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are toward the righteous." Right? It is a great story for Valentine's Day, Kevin. I know. I'm so excited. "The eyes of the Lord are toward the righteous and his ears toward their cry. The face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to cut off the memory of them from the earth. When the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their trouble." Now you may hear that. The righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their trouble. And you may say, I have trouble right now. God hasn't delivered me out of my trouble. Why am I having to go through this? If God was God, I wouldn't have to be going through the trouble that I'm in. He obviously doesn't hear my cry for help. Okay, just because the answer for your prayer and your cry for help is not the answer that you're seeking doesn't mean that he doesn't deliver you out of all your trouble. You may be in the trouble still, even though he hears your cry, because that's the best place for you to be, because God works out all things for the good, because God is interested in your eternal and more than your temporal. God wants you to live life and life to the fullest. And sometimes that does require a time of heartache and trouble, right? So, I need that one away. Let me move these. Okay. So just because the answer to your cry for help isn't the answer that you're seeking does not mean that God does not hear your cry for help. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. God is there for you. You are not alone. God loves you. God is meeting your need above and beyond what you could possibly imagine. And that might be hard for you to believe in whatever your situation is in, but God's word is true and God's word doesn't fail. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. We are delivered out of all our afflictions. God does not leave us to despair and to be crushed. God delivers us so that we have hope in a future. He keeps all his bones, not one of them is broken. Affliction will slay the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be condemned. The Lord redeems the life of his servants. None of those who take refuge in him will be condemned. We will suffer heartache and trials and hard times, but that doesn't mean that's the end. That is a piece of the story, but it is not the end of our story, right? So our last reading for today is Proverbs 9, 9, and 10. Give instruction, and the footnote says Hebrew lacks instruction. So give instruction or lacks instruction to a wise man. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. And then the footnote says so then it would say, give to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. You're seeking what you should do. What is my path? What is the right decision? How should I go about this? I don't know what direction I should take. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Are you in the Word? Are you in prayer? Are you seeking godly counsel? Are you in a Bible-believing church where you can use your gifts, where your time and your tithe and your talent are being used for the glory of God? And if you're in all of those things, that is the beginning of wisdom. You will see the direction God is giving you if you're submersed in the life of God. When we choose to withdraw and look to ourselves and look to the world for answers, we can't find it, because wisdom is in God, not in ourselves or the world. And knowledge of the Holy One is insight. We need to seek knowledge from God, not from other sources. And that's how we will find what we're seeking, right? Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me here for Valentine's Day. I hope you have an extremely blessed day. I look forward to seeing you. Oh, yes. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, but I will be at a different location because I will be traveling tomorrow. So once I get there, I will get on and share with you guys. So God bless, and I hope that you have an excellent day. And thank you so much for being here with me. Talk to you later.